I was sitting at the park one day, trying to think about what video to make next, when suddenly,
Help! We don't know how to bike correctly here in Valencia, Spain.
don't worry, weird and super random stranger, this one's for you. When visiting Valencia, there are many ways to explore the city. The best way for me is always going to be on foot, but since this is a flat city, biking is always a great option. With almost 160 kilometers of bike lanes in the city, Valencia is transforming into a biker's paradise. In this episode, we're talking about the bike lanes, the rules, the etiquette, what to do when there are no bike lanes, what to do when there are people, how to park your bike, and what the pros and cons are. But before that, if you are curious about traveling to Europe, especially Spain, and would love to know more about it, let us show you around. Subscribe if you're on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and listen to us anywhere podcasts can be downloaded. Vale? Vamos! When it comes to bike rentals, Valencia's city bike rental program is called Valenbisi. These bikes are accessible every day at any time from almost everywhere due to their 275 stations. They're so close to each other that if you run out of bikes in one station, you can just go to the next one and grab a bike. To use the service, you pay a fixed cost per week or year. A weekly ticket, which is valid for 7 days, costs around 13 euros, while an annual card costs 29 euros. This subscription can be activated through the Valenbisi app, or you could get a ticket at a Valenbisi station for a weekly pass. Or you could load your pass on a Mobilis card for the annual ticket. Now let's talk about how to claim a bike. Grabbing a bike through the app is easier now more than ever. All you have to do is just launch the app, and then the map will show you the stations nearest you, and the numbers indicate how many bikes are left in that station. Once you click on a station, it will show you the quality of the bikes based on the number of stars and the number of ratings it has received. Next, approach the bike that you picked and swipe on the bike's number to release it to you. Once the transaction has been processed, you will have 60 seconds to claim the bike from its dock. Press the button and pull. This is the most important part. Using a bike for less than 30 minutes is free. So what we do to save money is just grab a bike, drive for less than 30 minutes, return the bike to a station, and grab another bike and continue your route. From the public rental program to a private bike rental program, in Valencia there are a lot of bike rental shops where you can rent a bike for a few hours to a few days. The good thing about renting a bike from a shop is you won't have a limit on how many minutes at a time you could use your bike. You also don't need to worry about which bike station to park your bike. You just need to make sure you are parking your bike in a safe place. Another advantage is the quality of the vehicles. Valenbisi bikes aren't designed for long rides as they tend to be heavier and stiffer. Bikes from shops are better quality, can be fitted for different genders and ages, and they also offer electric bikes and scooters. The average price per day for bike rental can go between 8 euros and 15 euros. And if you do multiple day rentals, the prices go under 10 euros per day. Now let me explain the bike lanes. Bike paths can either be a separate lane on the normal street, it's usually color red, or a painted bike lane on a sidewalk. The bike paths, including the Turia, are narrow and almost always two-way. So be aware and try to cycle one person at a time. So you have to fall in one line, don't bike side to side. Ciclocalles are special bicycle streets where you share the road with cars. There's almost always a bike lane somewhere, so if you don't see one, there should be one on the opposite lane or the pavement. Map apps will show you two different routes when using public versus private bikes. Let me demonstrate. So if you click on Google Maps and then you go from one place to another and choose a bike path, it's going to show you two options, Valenbisi or private bike. So if you click on private bike, it'll give you where the bike routes are. If you click on Valenbisi, it will connect you to the multiple stations that are available close to where your destination is. So those two routes can be different. Now let's go to the important part, the bike rules. Number 1, you cannot use headphones or a cell phone while on your bike at any time. If you do this and get caught, you could get fined up to 200 euros. The same you would get for using a phone while driving. The maximum speed allowed on a bike lane is 15 kilometers per hour, which means it's about 9 miles per hour if you're biking on a bike lane on the sidewalk, or 20 kilometers per hour or 12 miles per hour if it's a dedicated lane on the road. Next rule, you must be visible at all times. So at night, you must use approved lights at the front and rear of the bike. That's why I love just renting, because Valenbisi and the private rental bikes already meet these requirements. So you normally don't have to worry about bringing your own. Next rule, it's illegal to bike on the pavement, the bus or taxi lane, or cycling in tunnels. Next rule, children under the age of 16 must wear a helmet. Another rule, children under 7 or until they're physically fit, generally around 20 kilograms, must travel on a child bike seat. Last rule, you can carry pets with you on a bike. Now we go to the unspoken rule, which is biking etiquette. Always use hand signals. That's key. If you don't use hand signals, it's going to confuse the person behind you or the one coming towards you. Always be aware of traffic lights and pedestrians because they are the number 1 priority. There are a lot of people in this town that are not familiar with the traffic rules, so be cautious. Now, what are you gonna do if there's no bike lanes? Here are 4 tips. If the bike lane path ends, you are supposed to cycle on the road. Biking on a bus exclusive lane is not allowed. You will find these bus-only lanes marked as EMT on the road floor. There are, however, bus, bike, taxi lanes marked as taxi EMT BT on the road floor. These lanes have a section painted in red that acts as a bike lane. Next one, when you are biking on the road, you are only allowed to go in the same direction as the rest of the vehicles. Never go towards traffic. It's dangerous and illegal. If you're not going in the right direction on a one-way road, you need to step off your bike and walk with your bike until you are able to reach the correct direction. Now, what are you gonna do when you are in pedestrian lanes? Number 1, you can only bike in pedestrian areas if the width of the street is more than 3 meters or 10 feet. Next, make sure you leave at least 1.5 meters or 5 feet distance from pedestrians at all times. And you need to keep your speed under 10 kilometers per hour or 6 miles. Now let's go to parking your bike. The bikes can only be attached to the designated metal brackets available on the street. Parking your bike on the street that is locked to a tree or lamppost is illegal. Lastly, bikes cannot be attached to another bike and be loose on the street. That's it. The beauty of being on a bike is that you can see the city faster, which means you can enjoy it at your own pace. Whether renting through the city or through a shop, you're always in good hands. Just like us, the city wants you to enjoy all the sights, so make sure that you plan ahead, take a lot of photos and videos, and don't forget to tag us at Everything is Boffo so we can see what you've been up to. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you around this beautiful city. Hasta luego!